envy interview we say na your name Dr. Za Julius Kojo Eninkomo, or Vice President, Global Union of Ghanaian Scholars. Na yeneno ending komo. Kojo, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm hoping you're doing well today, sir.
Yeah, it's okay.
What do you have in terms of latest information as to the plight of Ghanaian students in Ukraine and Russia?
All right, so a bright morning to you and all your wonderful listeners. Yes, well, over the past 48 hours, we've been in intense meeting with our students in Russia and Ukraine. I'll start with Russia because that's where the good news is. For our students in Russia, everything is calm, basically calm. They go to lectures as normal as always. I mean, they are not online. They go to class, they go out to buy whatever they need. Basically, I would say for Russia, there's no new development. Of course, it was the same for Ukraine about a few days ago until things escalated. So in as much as we are celebrating the fact that for Russia, things are okay, we cannot rule out a retaliation from Ukraine, which could make things worse in Russia. Now, in Ukraine, the past 48 hours has been a very difficult situation for them. We've moved from things being okay, except just tensions, to students having to live in groups and live in bomb protection camps. So currently, most of our students have been asked to locate, leave their hostels or apartments to places that they are protected from these missiles and bombs and all that's happening there. But basically, we'll say they are okay. We've been in touch with them all night, and they are doing well as we speak.
All right. Now, this morning, reading the Daily Graphic, we have been told that some places of shelter, some safe houses, some ECOWAS facilities have been made available to Ghanaian students to locate to these areas. What do you know about these locations?
Yeah, so there are emergency shelter, locations, but we have to understand that this is nowhere. These are like emergency. It's a very, when West comes to West, this is where you can seek some protection. It's not as comfortable for those who have been there. They'll complain. It's not as comfortable. You may not get all your basic amenities. Some of the places are very crowded. And these are some of them just went to school a few months ago. We are talking of people who are 18 years, 19 years, and then they have to go through all this. So, yeah, I think the government in Ukraine is trying very hard to make life as much as possible comfortable for them in this difficult time. But I can guarantee you they are not getting it easy at all.
Please tell us, what's the level of engagement from the Ghanaian authorities with the student representatives there? All
right, so from the president of the National Union of Ghanaian Students in Ukraine, ideally, Ukraine doesn't have an embassy, a Ghanaian embassy. So what they have is a representative, because they work with that in Switzerland. So there's a diplomatic representative there. They've been in contact with him as always. He assures them that the government have them in mind. But I think that a lot hasn't happened, aside yesterday that we heard from the Foreign Affairs Minister and all that. However, we are also trying our very best as the umbrella body for Ghanaian students in diaspora to reach out to these major stakeholders on this issue and see how best we can resolve them.
Are there hotlines for Ghanaian students there? Or maybe a Ghanaian, okay, you represent students, so let me stick to students. Are there any hotlines that Ghanaian students maybe who may find themselves in some of the hotspots can contact to be evacuated to any of these safe houses?
Yes. So currently we have the NUCs in Ukraine. They have their various city executives. So we have a list of all the city presidents. So everyone is supposed to have that. Now we've also encouraged them that wherever you are going, take your vital documents, your WASI result or your bachelor's degree, your passport, your residence permit. So they have all these lists. They are always moving out in group. If you want to go out in group, so that if we have to trace you, at least there is more options. So they have a whole list of it. Almost all the city presidents, we provided them with a number so that whenever you get stranded, you can easily reach out to them.
Now, let me ask about feeding. How are they surviving in terms of food they would eat?
Yeah, so that is a difficult one. Of course, when the whole thing started, there were rumors, so I think a few of them quickly got foodstuffs down. However, like I said, it's been 48 hours since the whole thing escalated. So when the thing happened yesterday, most complained they tried to go out, but some places were blocked, some places were crowded. Of course, at the mall, people want to find their way through. Some are citizens, you are a foreigner, and all that. So they got a few things. Some were lucky to have foodstuffs there already. And this is where we find it difficult. This is why we are appealing to the major stakeholders, the Foreign Affairs Ministry, the embassy in Switzerland. They have to reach out to these students. And we are told we have about 1,500 people there. That's a very huge number. So they are feeding, well, as we normally buy in bulk. The usual Ghanaian culture, you don't go buying every day. You have at least for a few days before the whole thing started. So they have some, but how long it will take them is the challenge that we are facing now.
So is that to say that there isn't any arrangement from government as to the supply of amenities, as to the supply of food? Nothing like that?
Well, currently not. Currently not. Like I said, even with Ukraine, their airspaces are all closed down now. So from our last discussions, if something new has developed this morning, well, we've not heard of that yet. But as we speak, there's not. However, like I said, the representative is in touch with the leadership of the Students' Union, but we've not heard of any food or financial assistance to the students there.
How resourceful has been the consulate in Ukraine as to the concerns and needs of the students per your engagement with them?
Well, I'll say they've been okay. Even when we have the embassies or the high missions, they always tell you decisions have to be made from home. Some decisions are more than them. I mean, are higher for them to make. So you can imagine a consulate. It's very, very difficult. They try their best. They try his best to be there for the students. But the reality is that in this difficult time, you need some decisions to be made instant, on spot. You need some sacrifices here and there for the students. And that is where the problem is with our usual protocols. So he's been helpful to them. He's given them assurances. But I think the whole thing, the president will always tell you, when the whole thing started and he wrote letters, they've written several letters to the ministries. I mean, they didn't get a response. And that is why they are in this case, because they wanted to know. There are a lot of rumors, but what is the situation? Because, of course, the Foreign Affairs Ministry will have a better idea of the situation on the ground than them. So they wrote to them several times, but response came in very, very late. So I think they are doing their best, but, well, we can just hope for the better.
Final question. Do you think that Ghanaian students in Ukraine feel safe?
Well, their safety as we speak is what we cannot guarantee because situations keep getting worse every day. As at this morning, everyone is safe. But what will happen today, we can't guarantee. That is why we are also looking at the possibility of evacuation. Yeah, the airspaces are closed, but people are moving to nearby countries, Bulgaria, Poland, and all that. So if we can consider we can look into probably moving these students by road. Again, they don't have visa, so this is diplomatic ties. They don't have the visa to these nations. But a lot of the citizens are, they call them citizen nations. So most of the citizens of Ukraine are moving to these countries because as soon as you're just like Ghana and Togo, I can move into Togo anytime. But not everybody can get into Togo. So it has to be diplomatic, where our citizens are picked up if things get worse to some of these neighboring countries that are quite peaceful. For their welfare today, as at this morning, they are doing well, but nobody knows what will happen later this evening.
Thank you, my brother, for making time to speak to us this morning on the Happy Morning Show, and we wish you the best and safety as well.
Very much, bro.
That's Vice President, Global Union of Ghanaian Scholars, joining us, Dr. Kojo Julius, with development in Ukraine.